Good evening and welcome all. This is Mohammed Adel, Journal and Client Experience Executive from Taylor and Francis team. We will take about 2 to 3 minutes to wait for other attendees to join us and start at 9:33. Thank you all for joining. So I guess we can start. Thank you all for joining. I'd like to welcome you all. Mohammed Adel, Journal and Client Experience Executive from Taylor and Francis team, responsible for the journal's portfolio at Taylor and Francis. And today we will take you through our second session of a series of 2 sessions. We started yesterday with our first session as part of assisting in your publishing journey. Yesterday we discussed increasing your research impact, and today we will cover the part of plagiarism and how to avoid it, and give you a brief overview and simple tips and tricks on how to avoid plagiarism while writing your paper and writing your manuscript. So thank you all for joining us today, and thank you for the academic coordinators, Sultan Qaboos University Library members, for allowing us to be with you today. And let us start. So today's agenda will be first a brief introduction about Taylor and Francis, and for those who joined us yesterday, we'll try to be brief in this introduction. We'll just give you a brief hint about what's Taylor and Francis Group and what we are doing in terms of partnership, partnering with Sultan Qaboos University to make our top quality content available for your use and to assist in your publication journey. Then we will give you a brief overview about Taylor and Francis Author Services platform and how it can support authors in every step in their publishing journey. Our main scope that we will be covering today, of course, is plagiarism and how to avoid it, among many other topics that the Author Services platform cover. We will then go on to a live demo on Taylor and Francis online, and we will have a Q&A before this session. If you need to discuss anything, any accessibility on Taylor and Francis online, we can have it on our live demo. And we will go through a brief live demo on our Author Services platform and how it would assist you in your publishing journey and every step of your publications. So as we were saying, we're Taylor and Francis Group. We're partnering with the Sultan Qaboos University for over 5 years. Our journal content and ebooks content are available through the e-resources and your library domains. You can log in through your university accounts and access Taylor and Francis online, and you will find top quality content and research articles available for your use. Taylor and Francis, we started publishing since 1798. Currently, we're about 225 years. We started with one journal, the Philosophical Magazine, and currently we have 2,700 journals across 3 main libraries and covering all subjects in humanitarians, social science, humanities, science and technology, and the medical subjects. We have one of the largest ebooks collection with over 150,000 book titles. And we have dedicated platforms for open research like F1000 and Dove Medical Press. We operate under a lot of imprints like Taylor and Francis, Routledge, Dove Medical Press, and F1000. So how can we assist you in terms of the content, the numbers, and the quality of the content? First, we publish, as we said, over 145,000 book titles, with over 5,000 book titles being released newly every year. And we have about 2,700 journals under highly regarded imprints like Routledge, CRC Press, Taylor and Francis, and Dove Medical Press. We have about 85% of our titles indexed in Web of Science, and about 90% of the titles are indexed in Scopus. And we have about 180 full open access journals dedicated solely for open access publications in different research and subject areas. In terms of Taylor and Francis bibliometrics, we have the most journals listed in the social science, arts, humanities, and emerging sources citation indexes than any other global publisher. We have the top journals share in 33 Web of Science categories and 59 Scopus categories. We have more than 150 top 10 ranked impact factor journals in their subject areas. And we have the highest content of journals in the arts and humanities and in the social science citation indexes. We had about 50,000 documents, policy documents that patent and cited our content in 2020, and we had 2.2 million online mentions in 2020. So regarding our libraries, we publish across 4 main libraries: the Social Science and Humanities Library, the Science and Technology Library, the Medical Library, and we have a specially dedicated expert collection, which has almost 28 journals for expert reviews and expert opinions dedicated to publishing the expert reviews in the drug development phases and the different therapeutic areas. So regarding our 3 main libraries, the Social Science and Humanities Library, the largest social science and humanities library in the world, we have about 1,485 journals. 80% of them are indexed in Web of Science, and about 25% of them are quartile 1 and quartile 2 journals. We cover 14 subject areas covering all social science and humanities subjects: anthropology, archaeology and heritage, arts and humanities, business management and economics, criminology and law, education, geography, planning, urban and environment, library and information science, media, cultural and communication studies, mental health and social care, psychology, politics and international relations and area studies, sociology, related disciplines, sports, leisure and tourism, and strategic defense and security studies. For the Science and Technology Library, we have 510 journals. It's very high quality library with 91% of the journals indexed in Web of Science. About 50% of the journals are quartile 1 and quartile 2 journals. Across 6 main subject areas covering all science and technology related disciplines: the biological, earth, environmental, and food science, the chemistry collection, engineering, computing and technology collection, the physics collection, mathematics and statistics collection, and the sports science and medicine collection. For the medical library, we have 178 titles. 93% of them are indexed in Web of Science, and about 45% of them are quartile 1 and quartile 2 journals. Across 178 journals across 4 main subject areas, covering all 30 key specialties and 30 therapeutic areas. The 4 main subjects are allied and public health, clinical psychiatry and neuroscience, general medicine and dentistry, and pharmaceutical science and toxicology. As we said, over 90% are indexed in Clarivate citation indexes and Web of Science, and we partner with the leading well-awarded and well-known societies in different therapeutic areas. So this was in terms of providing the top quality content for your research part of your publication journey. So for the publishing part, we assist you through every step of your publishing journey through our author services platform, Taylor & Francis Author Services platform, which is solely dedicated to assist authors in every step of the research and publishing journey. As we discussed yesterday, this is the overview of Taylor & Francis Author Services platform. It assists you in every step of your publishing journey, from the start of choosing the right journal, writing your paper, making your submission, the peer review and the production processes, even after the publication on how to get the highest research impact, choosing open access, the different benefits of open access publishing, the open access cost finder, and the different open access agreements which can facilitate securing funding from funding authorities. We have also the editorial policies of all Taylor & Francis journals. The thing is, we have 2,700 journals. All of them have the same editorial policies, so this facilitates a lot and ease a lot in your publishing journey. If you're publishing with any of Taylor & Francis journals, they all have the same editorial policies. And we have two important tools that may assist you in your publishing journey. If you're having, or if you've already searching for a topic or a research topic to start your research with, you can explore the search current call for papers. And you can try also, if you're already done with your manuscript and you're searching for a journal to publish in, you can explore the journal suggester tool, where you copy and paste your abstract and it reveals the most relevant journals to your subject area and to your finished research. So why do we do publishing? As we said, it's very important to publish our research article to get well known in our academic network, to drive our career progress, as most currently the promotions are based on publishing in quartile 1 and quartile 2 journals. This will facilitate later on to be well known in your academic network and to be well known as a credible researcher with a lot of credible work. So it will facilitate securing more funds and working on bigger projects in your research area. So the publishing journey starts with choosing the right journal, writing your paper, making your submission, the peer review process, the production, which is the publisher part, and then you're published. But of course, before publishing, we need to check for some items before publishing, before submitting our paper to be published. So as we discussed in every single topic of in every single step of your publishing journey, the author services platform supports you with dedicated trainings. We have a solely dedicated training for how to choose the right journal for my paper, the writing steps on how to prepare your manuscript and how to write your manuscript to be ready for your submission process. And for making your submission part, it's very important to check for some items before doing your submission, to prepare your data, to prepare your tables, to prepare all the documents that you will submit, to recheck them, to recheck your data. So there is a specially dedicated checklist on the author services platform to facilitate the submission process and to assist you before clicking the submit button in any journal that you choose to submit in. So there are some, as we said, there are some regulations and some guidelines that we need to check before clicking the submit button, because it's very important. We've already spent a lot of months writing, preparing our research, doing the research part and writing either our papers. So it's very important to check for some items before clicking the submit button, just to make sure that your paper is ready for the submission and to increase your acceptance rate and your acceptance chances. So there are some ethical issues that might occur from the publisher perspective and may lead to rejecting a research article or a research paper that has been submitted. Some of them, some of the most common, or of course, to be clear on authorship, if there is an authorship conflict, you have to state, even with a letter or a statement, the authorship and how can you deal in conflicts over the authorship before even clicking the submit. You have to include all the contributors to your article, and your acknowledgements are up to date. Agree with your co-authors which journal you are submitting in, and tell them when you submit. You have to check for the authorship any authorship conflict before clicking your submission button. Also, try to avoid plagiarism, and it's an important topic that we will be discussing today on how to check correctly, does my article have the accepted level of plagiarism, because there is a lot of levels of plagiarism, and of course some phrases might appear that they are plagiarized, but they are accepted because they are, maybe we're speaking about names or something, so there is a specific level that is accepted for plagiarism. So you have to double check your paper and avoid having any plagiarized quotations, any plagiarized statements in your research article, because this is normally checked by the editorial teams of any publisher that you're publishing with. Also, you need to double check your data to check whether you have stated all you're submitting. If you're submitting data and with any disclaimers, with any third-party data that you have involved, you need to state and include a clear statement on the data. If you're publishing, for instance, an open research, you need to make your data open data. Excuse me. Sorry for this. So to double check your data before the submission, if you have any conflict of interest, you have to give a clear statements on any conflict of interest. If you have any limitations for your study, if there is any hazardous from operating the study or replicating the study, you need to state them clearly. And of course, to avoid submitting your paper twice at a time, if you submitted your article or your paper in one journal, you have to wait till you get the reply from this journal whether your article is accepted, or even if you get your article rejected, then you can submit it in another journal, because the duplicacy in the submission is of course a major factor to get any article rejected. So as we were saying, the author services platform discuss the main point of the editorial policies, whether it's authorship conflict, it's plagiarism, it's checking to double check your data, it's the statements of any limitations. So we have one editorial policy that governs all 2,700 journals that are being published with Taylor and Francis. This is a quick quiz, just to know from your perspective, what are the most common ethical issues that might appear and might cause rejection to any paper. So this is a quiz on www.menti.com. If you can go on, just click on this code, just add this code, sorry. Just add this code, and the quiz will appear for you. You can just answer and give us what you think about the most common issue, ethical issue that might get any paper rejected. Yes, I will show it. So if we can just log in to www.menti.com and use this code 2.680 26803462, the quiz will appear. Classification, okay. Copy paste, I think also, I mean, self-citation. Course. Okay. So we'll give just another minute. Interesting answers. So it's mostly going to, I guess, plagiarism is repeated a lot. Self-citation, salami slicing, double submission. Okay. Of course, all of them are right. Of course, all of them يعني, are major ethical issues. But I think you got it right. Thank you for your answers. I think most of us agreed on different definitions for plagiarism. Plagiarism, of course, is the most common ethical issue that appears from a publisher perspective. Actually, 46% of any ethical issues that are appearing and cause the rejection of any article arise from plagiarism and the different definitions that are associated with plagiarism. Of course, the major ethical issues are plagiarism, authorship, conflict of interest, duplicate submission or double submission, research fraud, reviewer bias, research results misappropriation. There is a lot of issues, but mainly plagiarism constitutes to almost 50% of all the ethical issues that appear from a publisher perspective. So it's a very important topic, and authors and publishers spend a lot of time to check for plagiarism. So why is this? So what is plagiarism? There's a simple definition defined by the Committee of Publication Ethics that define plagiarism, that when somebody presents the work of others, such as data, words, or theories, as if they are his or her own work, without even proper acknowledgement or without giving credit to the source. This is the purest or the simplest definition for plagiarism. It's when presenting the work of others as if it's your work without crediting the source of the work that you cited from. So plagiarism, there is a lot of quotes also that define different definitions of plagiarism. Plagiarism is a problem that comes from lack of creativity, copying the expressions of others. Plagiarism is hard to define in any precise way. At the simplest level, it's copying text from other authors and using them as if they were your own without proper citation. So what are the types of plagiarism? I saw some mentioning the salami slicing. So what are the major types of plagiarism? Of course, there is deliberate plagiarism when you're يعني voluntarily doing plagiarism and you know that you're plagiarizing a sentence or a data or whatever the part that you're plagiarizing, so it's deliberately plagiarism. And there is accidental or unwitting plagiarism when it happens by mistake. There is mosaic plagiarism, which also it has a definition like when trying to put different pieces from a different article and copying them into your research paper. This includes rewording pieces of the source material while keeping the same structure of your of the original text without giving citation or giving proper credit to the source. And of course, there is self-plagiarism when it's the reuse of your own work, whether it's text, data, or images, including the text translated from another language, usually without proper citation. It's when you use your own work, but without citing that it was already mentioned in previous research article that you worked on. And of course, there is a duplicate publication, is the publication of what is essentially the same paper in one or more journal. It's when you try to publish a paper that you published in a local journal, for instance, and you try to republish it again in international journal. This is a type of plagiarism. And there is salami slicing or salami publication. It's the segmentation of a large study which should have been reported in one single paper and trying to publish it on smaller researchers. If you're having maybe a cohort study or something, a big mega study, and you try to publish it on many separate research findings, as many separate research findings, this is also a type of plagiarism. So what can be plagiarized? Everything can be plagiarized, actually. This meeting, actually, this recording can be plagiarized. So this applies to data, images, words, or ideas taken from any material in whatever electronic or print format without significant or sufficient attribution or citation or crediting the source. So anything, as we said, can be plagiarized, like abstracts, ideas, findings, theories, diagrams, graphs, and illustrations, seminar presentations, laboratory reports, your thesis or dissertation, or even your assignment can be plagiarized, research proposals, computer programs, and even computer codes can be plagiarized. Gray literature, unpublished and published manuscript, all of these can be plagiarized. So if you use any of such material, whether directly or indirectly in your paperwork without giving proper citation source, this means that you're plagiarizing from different or other people's work. So why is it important to detect plagiarism? Actually, all our research and everything that we're doing in our current research is based on previous work and the work of others that they have reached a certain point in research, and we're trying to continue on their story. So we will probably, it's not copying, but we will probably get a lot of ideas of our research work from the work of others. So why does plagiarism matter, and why is it important from a publisher perspective to detect plagiarism? Because of course, anyone who's going to view Taylor and Francis online, for instance, or going to view any journal for Taylor and Francis online, or any of the global publisher, they want to be sure that all the published work and all the research article that they are getting are of the highest quality, are credible, and are free of plagiarism and free of stealing the work of others. So trust and integrity are among what readers value the most in scholarly peer-reviewed journal content. So if plagiarism is detected in a journal article, this might affect a lot the credibility of the publisher. So publishers spend a lot of time and a lot of investments trying to update always the tools that are used to detect plagiarism, to avoid any plagiarized material in their published journals, to always maintain the integrity and the credibility of the publisher in front of his users and in front of his viewers. So, as we said, why is detection of plagiarism important? This is a quote from one of our editor-in-chiefs, Miranda Devine. Plagiarism, as she said, is one of the great academic sins. It has the power to destroy a scholar or writer and turn a lifetime work into dust. So what do publishers use to detect plagiarism? Of course, there is a lot of tools to check for plagiarism. You might know, and your library, of course, have a tool for detecting plagiarism. So you might ask your librarians and ask your academic coordinators on what are the tools that are available to check the plagiarism letters on all your research articles. But from a publisher perspective, we use something that's called cross-check. So cross-check is a mega database with over 30 million articles published in thousands of journals and from 400 global publishers. So this initially undergoes the editorial check. When you first submit your article, it undergoes what's called the editorial check. One part of it is the initial check, where they do check for the plagiarism and the content of plagiarism in your article. Of course, there is a lot of levels of plagiarism. If your paper, for instance, contains the name of Sultan Qaboos University, so it might appear on the system that this phrase is plagiarized from different articles, but of course there are levels of plagiarism. So the system undergoes the initial check and present all the plagiarized phrases to the editorial team of the publisher, and they undergo a manual check again for your paper to agree on the accepted level of plagiarism in your article. And if it might have a higher level of the unaccepted plagiarism, they might send the article back for amendments and might send it to the author back for amendments. So it's important to avoid any plagiarism in your articles, and actually the level, it's not it's not a certain percentage that they agree on that we can elaborate. Of course, it depends only on the it depends only on the different subject areas, the different disciplines that you're operating in, the manual check that the editor later on undergoes or does to your paper after having the initial check from cross-check. So what are examples of plagiarism cases? Like it's if you're not crediting the source, if you're paraphrasing too closely even without giving credit to the source, if you're using statistics from someone else's work. As we said, everything can be plagiarized. Images, photographs, maps, without crediting or citing the source, buying or copying another person's paper or letting them do your assignment. Of course, this is plagiarism. Sharing a code for a computer program with another student without taking or giving source to the reference or giving a reference to the source, downloading material from the internet without proper citation, the making up statistics or important facts and citing false sources. All of these are examples of plagiarism. So how can we avoid plagiarism? The key is correct citation. It's very simple, it's very clear, but you have to give credit to the source. It's a simple keyword: give credit to the source and give credit to others always in your work. It's when you use correct citation for any statement or any idea that you have taken from other people's work. Just make sure that you have clearly, if you're taking a sentence from other people's work, just make sure that you have clearly cited the source and presented it with quotation marks around the statement or the sentence that you have taken from other people's work. Also reference or add a citation or a reference to the work that you have taken from others. Acknowledge the contributions of others. Manage the copyrights and avoid image plagiarism, and obtain permissions if you're taking from original papers, original publisher, or taking data from other people's work. Obtain permission and provide them along with your paper. So the keyword is giving correct citation. It's always giving credit to the others, and always crediting the source of your of the statements or the ideas that you have taken from other research. And so how can we go as we said, most of our work is based on ideas that have previously been published. So how can we avoid plagiarism while, of course, taking references from other people's work? It's through paraphrasing. And what we mean by paraphrasing, it's very simple. It's just do not copy and paste other people's work. Just as a simple idea about paraphrasing, read the whole article, take main points or write the main points of any article, think about them in your head and then write them in your own words and write them in your own way. Do not be paraphrasing too closely to other people's work, and always cite, as we said, the ideas that you're paraphrasing, cite them and put them in your references, add them in your references. So what are the consequences for plagiarism? Actually, as we said, any publisher is very invested in avoiding plagiarism and for the plagiarism check. So once your paper is they can find out about plagiarism in two phases. First, if your paper is still in peer review, if your paper is still in the editorial check. So if the level of plagiarism is minor, there is minor similarities between your paper and other papers, so the paper will be sent back to the author for amendments. If the similarities between the manuscripts is too extensive for revision, the paper might be rejected because there is a high level of plagiarism in your article, so they will reject your paper. If the paper is already published, then the author might even retract the paper. The author might retract the paper, might even publish a correction or an expression of concern, and they might even retract your paper that was already published. And if plagiarism was detected even afterwards, if it's a major level of plagiarism, it might lead to disciplinary action from the research institute or the funding authority. It might even lead to loss of position or loss of funding in that you've got for your research work. So it's very important to avoid plagiarism in your articles. And actually, this is our training for today regarding plagiarism. Last but not least, yesterday, to give you a brief recap, we discussed research impact. So it was regarding how to boost your research article through simple steps from the start of getting an idea of research, and how to keep the aim of what you're trying to achieve in your mind before writing your paper, how to use the right keywords in your article to optimize for the search engine, and after publishing, how can you promote for your papers through using either social media platforms, the different academic networks, promoting for your article in scientific conferences. And last but not least, how can you measure the level of impact that your paper is achieving online through the different tools that Taylor and Francis Online provide, like your article views, the number of citations that your article has got from cross-reference, Web of Science, and Scopus, and the Altimetric Attention Score, which measures all the online mentions that your article has got, whether it's social media, it's Wikipedia, it's the academic networks. The Altimetric Attention Score measures all the mentions that your article has got, so it gives you just a direction of what your article is doing and what kind of impact your article is achieving. And of course, the journal level metrics, which gives you a brief overview on what kind of reach that this journal is having and how it's doing in terms of the impact factor, of course, the acceptance rate of this journal. There is a lot of journal metrics that Taylor and Francis Online provide. So this was regarding our training, but we're open for questions and we'll go for our live demo later on. So do we have any questions regarding plagiarism topic? And if you have any questions that we would like to address during our live demos on Taylor and Francis Online and the Author Services platform. Okay. So we got a question about salami plagiarism, and I will send you a clear article, a detailed article about salami plagiarism and the different types of that are included. But it's mainly when you have a big research article with a lot of research findings, a lot of primary and secondary endpoints, and try to publish each of them as a separate finding and a separate research article. So this is the brief definition of salami slicing. It's trying to publish one research across many different papers or many articles and trying to submit them in different international journals as different research articles. Okay, so the question is regarding the plagiarism check. Of course, every university has its own plagiarism check tool. So it might be very useful to ask your librarians and your professors about what tool that your university is using for plagiarism check. And of course, you have, if there is a tool that is used by a university, you can have access to this tool to check the level of plagiarism of your article. But there are simple tools that you can use. Of course, the free tools, they do not offer the full services. You can just log in on different websites, and I will leave you with, of course, there's Turnitin. So we got a question, is Salami publication of your article from your own thesis as well? If you published your thesis before, then it's considered, yes, of course, a level of plagiarism, and it's considered Salami plagiarism. But if your thesis article was not plagiarized, so you're choosing to publish one part of it, this is as your paper was or not already published, as your thesis paper was not already published, so this is considered as a separate article that is being published currently, and this is not considered as Salami plagiarism, but you cannot publish the rest of your article later on. So you can publish the whole thesis paper as a whole for the first time, but you cannot publish a certain part of it, then try to publish the other parts or the other secondary endpoints that you've reached as separate publications. Sorry. Dr. Mac, we have regarding link to certificates. The certificates will be automatically sent to all the email recipients in actually 1 week to maximum 10 days from today's meeting. Each certificate separate for every session will be sent to the email that was registered for this meeting, and they will be e-certificate that will be sent automatically from the system. We've already sent the template of the certificate with the academic coordinator, and they will be communicated separately to each one through his mail during maybe 7 to 10 days maximum. So did I answer your question? Of course, plagiarism can check what's written by AI if it's based on different research articles, but if it's original work, no, it cannot be detected. So if it's copying and pasting from different research articles, the AI tool is copying and pasting from different research article, it will be detected. But detecting whether it's AI or not, this is not, I do not have a clear answer about this yet. So let us check it and maybe later on answer this specific question. But of course, if it's copying and pasting from different research article, it will be detected. But currently, as we can see, some AI tools are creating a lot words from scratch even. So I do not yet know, but it's very important point that we need to double check, of course. After we check the plagiarism, can we remove our article from websites? No, actually, yes, I understand the question. For the free versions of the article, no, you cannot, but they are all trusted. Yani make sure that you're checking with a trusted plagiarism tool. If they're offering a free service, then yes, you cannot retract the article because it's already checked online, but they do not use the copy of your article to sell or to يعني to give any of your research findings to other users on this online platform. But it's very important. This is why it's very important to check with your library first and to check with your academic coordinator first if there is a tool that is used by the library or the university. This would be very beneficial for you to check your articles before submitting. So this is regarding the questions. Now we will go for a quick live demo. Okay. So once you log in to Taylor and Francis online from you will go through your library domain, and from the e-resources at the letter T you will find Taylor and Francis journals. So this will take you to Taylor and Francis online, the homepage of our journal platform, with more than almost 5 million articles available for your view. So you have four main search engines that you can use. First is the simple search. So we can search for humanities or any keyword, the author name, whatever kind of identifier that you need to find. So if we search by an author name, for instance, they will the articles that he published with us will appear. If you search by any kind of keyword, so if we search by humanities, we have 604,000 articles addressing the humanities subject. Of course, there is an important tool that you might benefit from. It's only show content that I have access to, that will give you a search, will limit the search for all the content that's fully available for your use. You can have full access to this content. Of course, if you do not want to use it and all the articles can appear for you. So if you need to check any research article, for instance, for checking this article, we have full access to this article, the full online version, the figures and data, where you can, but this article doesn't have figures and data. All the citations, the articles that this article was cited in, the article level metrics. As we said, it's the number of views, the citations that this article has got, and the altimetric attention score across the different social media and online platforms. You can view the full PDF. And of course, you can download the citation to use it, to cite it for your references. The journal homepage, where you can check the data of any journal, the IMA scope, the information about the journal, the editorial board, the instruction for authors, and the journal metrics. So the journal metrics gives you a view of the number of downloads and views that the journal is having, the impact factor of this journal, the quartile of this journal, and the acceptance and speed rate. So this journal accepts from submission to first decision in 51 days, and from 66 days from submission to first post review decision, and it has a 38% acceptance rate. Then we can use was for the simple search. Then we can use the advanced search. if we're trying to find a specific article by name, it's same as the simple search, but you can add a lot of identifiers and select whatever kind of identifier that you want to add so that you can reach a specific article. And we can search by the journal name itself. If we know the name of journal, we can type it in the simple search, or we can search by whatever subject area. All the journals in this subject area will appear for us. And if we're searching by the initials of the journal, they are all ordered from A to Z by alphabetical order. And last, we have the subject area search. All the subject area that Taylor and Francis publish in, you can select any subject area that you want to do your research in. And you will have all the articles and all the journals that is publishing in this subject area. You can add also a lot of filters. You can select all the filters that you need from the left side. So this was for Taylor and Francis Online for the author services platform. So this is the author services platform, and as we discussed yesterday, it covers every step of your publishing journey, from the start of choosing the right journal, writing your paper, making your submission, the peer review, the production, and after the publication, and the research impact. So if, for instance, if we're covering the choosing the right journal, first you can download, of course, your e-guide, or you can find all how you can build. You can find all also the instructions online on how you can build your shortlist, refine your shortlist, choosing open access, the think, check, submit tool, and what next steps you can do after choosing the journal. And you can find also the e-guide available for use at simple steps. This covers every step of your publishing journey. Our training today was based on our editorial policies. As we said, all 2,700 journals for Taylor and Francis have the same editorial policy. So you can check whatever kind of editorial policies and whatever kind of regulation that you need to check before submitting in Taylor and Francis journals. And of course, today we covered plagiarism topic, among many other ethical issues that may appear. And we have our global events and global webinars with our Taylor and Francis editorial teams and the international societies that we partner with. Every month we have almost 3 or 4 webinars covering different topics. You can check them and register from here. And finally, we have, as we discussed, the search current call for papers and the journal suggester tool. The search current call for papers, if you're having an idea of a research, or you want even to do a research, but you do not have still finalized the idea on what you're trying, on what you want to do research about. So you can select whatever subject areas that you're operating in. And all the journals that are having call for papers or special issues or certain topics that will increase the acceptance rate would appear for you here, and you can select the topic that is most relevant to your research area and focus your research on addressing this gap or addressing this topic. And the journal suggester tool, if you already wrote your manuscript and you're not determined yet on the journal that you're publishing in, so you can copy and paste your abstract here and reveal the suggested journals, 5 to 10 journals of high relevance to your topic or your research article will appear, so you can check each one of them and decide on your journal that you want to submit in. So this was our training for today. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions? Actually, the slides, يعني it be hard to send to, they will be sent to the academic coordinators, they will be sent to the professors and the library, the academic coordinators responsible for the training, and you might ask them for the email for the presentation. Or if you need the presentation specifically, you can just, I will leave my email address and you can just send me an email and I will email you the presentation after our training. So please, if you need the presentation, just send me an email and then we reply with the PDF presentation. And the certificates will be sent automatically for both sessions, yesterday and today, during the next week. Thank you all for your attendance. It was a pleasure being with you on yesterday and today. We hope to be with you again in a lot of sessions and a lot of workshops. Ramadan Kareem and Mubarak, and hope you have a great night, a great week and great months. The recording link will be shared with the members of also the academic coordinators. But also, if you need the link of the recording, we can share it with you in a couple of days. Just send me an email and I will reply with the recording link and the presentation template and the PDF of the presentation. متشكر لحضراتكم جدا. Thank you all. It was a pleasure being with you all. Thank you and have a nice day. If you can send me an email, it would be better than leaving it in the chat because I will reply on all the emails. So please send me an email if you need the presentation. Thank you. Good night. Thank you.